I don't blame Michelle Bachmann for thinking we were stalking her at the Republican convention this summer. We weren't, but I can see how she might have gotten that impression. I was at the convention with How's Your News, a team of reporters with various mental disabilities. It's a documentary project which began at a summer camp over 15 years ago. We traveled to interesting places such as the political conventions, and the reporters, outgoing adults with disabilities like Down syndrome, Williams syndrome, and autism, pepper whoever will speak to them with a wide range of very eclectic questions. The results are often funny, and they are meant to be, but we always emphasize that it really is funny in a nice way and not at anyone's expense. So this summer, we were roaming the halls of the Republican convention looking for politicians, and we kept ending up in the same place as Congresswoman Bachmann. The first time we saw her, one of our reporters, Bobby Bird, an older man with Down syndrome, approached her to say hi, and she grabbed his cheeks, leaned down, and said, "You are so awesome." We asked if Bobby might interview her, and she jumped back, and one of her press aides stepped in and said, "No thanks." This was disappointing, but somewhat understandable. Ms. Bachmann has been the target of some pretty pointed attacks, and one of her most famous gaffes involved her claim that the HPV vaccine caused a Midwestern girl to, quote, suffer from retardation. Perhaps she thought we had some scheme to make her look bad, but really, we didn't. What I like about taking this group of reporters into the political world is that they throw politicians off of their well-prepared script. You can get a pretty good read on a person's character by the way he or she interacts with a person with a noticeable disability. I honestly think that our reporters offer more insight with 30 seconds of left-field questions about swimming ability, deli menus, or favorite soap opera actors than Diane Sawyer or Wolf Blitzer might gain in a half-hour sit-down interview. So as I said, for some reason we kept bumping into Michelle Bachmann. She was very visible at that convention, and each time we saw her, she'd say she had no time for an interview, but then she'd walk away and start talking to some other reporter or blogger or anyone with a camera. Jeremy, one of our reporters with Williams syndrome, said he felt like she was blowing us off. "I really want to talk to her," he told me. I think he found her quite attractive. We followed Ms. Bachmann down an escalator and out of the building. "Congresswoman Bachmann," I said, "this is Jeremy Vest. He just wants to ask you a couple questions." We were right next to her, but she kept walking faster and faster, pretending we weren't there. Finally, Jeremy, who is normally quite reserved and shy, yelled out to her, "What is your problem?" The Congresswoman stopped, walked back towards us, and at last said hello. I expected at this point that Jeremy would get his interview, but he did not. Ms. Bachmann explained that she was behind schedule, and her aide stood between them and said they had to go. I'm sure that Ms. Bachmann was indeed on a tight schedule, but we spent 3 days at that convention, and we spoke to dozens of politicians, senators, former secretaries of state, even Mitt Romney himself, and they all had tight schedules, but each one of them found at least 30 seconds to have a decent conversation with our reporters. Ms. Bachmann thought that patting Bobby's cheeks and calling him awesome was enough, but honestly, we would have preferred that she just skip that part and just talk to us. Afterwards, I asked Jeremy what he wanted to ask her, and he said, "Oh, something about deli meats or maybe what her favorite band was." It's really too bad we didn't get to see that.
Thanks, Arthur.